Shall we talk about video games?
Sure.
All right, everybody is recording. Craig is working.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not recording. Should I be?
That would be nice. Every Dizzy turns into a Benny. Every Shotzo turns into a Blatzy. Every Cappy turns into a Blopper. This is episode 285 of Insert Credit, a completely normal show with a totally acceptable buzzer that could honestly stand to be a little bit louder. I'm Alex Jaffe, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of talking about superhero comic books online to an audience that's mostly there because I'm on a video game podcast.
Okay, so to be clear, the prompt is what I am the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of.
Or the athlete of your choice of.
Okay. My name is Frank Cifaldi. I am the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of pretending that I remember you when you say hi to me.
Oh, that's really good.
Very nice. I'm Tim Rogers, and I'm the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of writing mystery novels. No, wait, he does that. I'm the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of starring in movies with Bruce Lee. Oh no, he did that as well. I guess I'm the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of playing
Substack?
Of playing NBA basketball. Of Substack, yeah. Oh no! Oh no! He's just that goddamn guy's done it all.
Yeah.
So basically, you're looking for a guy who's done it all. I don't know. I'm the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of. Or I'm looking for a thing that I'm 7 feet 2 inches tall at. Is that a thing?
Yes.
Okay, I can't really think of anything I'm 7 feet 2 inches tall at. What am I the tallest what place am I the tallest person in the room at? Is that a possibility?
I thought of it as the unstoppable hook shot of.
Oh yeah, the scoring champion.
That guy was so good at that hook shot. Just puts his arm like taller than anyone in the world, and the ball just goes in the hole.
So Link is the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Water Temple.
Oh yeah, that's probably right. Shoot. I don't know.
The trick is to not think about these. You just say something.
I don't think highly of myself at all. I'm the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of just not getting a haircut at the right time.
Oh, I'm coming for that.
There it
I
is.
am gunning for that title.
I am Brandon Sheffield, and I was going to make a similar one of the many jokes that Tim made about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I was going to originally call myself the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of Vanillaware because I made a small contribution to one Vanillaware game, Dragon's Crown, and
that's good.
And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar made one contribution to a Bruce Lee movie, so it sort of feels like a similar thing, but that doesn't really work anymore. So I'm gonna say I'm the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of picking up leaves in the yard.
Oh,
I get them all.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
and I put them either in the green bin for composting, or I chop them up into tiny bits so that I can put them into the ground for composting, so they make the earth nicer later.
All right. Joining us on the Insert Credit podcast this week is nobody. It's just the four of us.
Nice.
Well, that's weird.
Just like old times. Our first question comes from last week's episode winner, Polygon's Simone de Rochefort.
We gotta get her back.
Yeah, we gotta get her back.
She did a good job.
All-timer, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of being on this show.
Mildly overshadowed by a weird situation.
Yeah. Simone asks, since I'm reading about the CMA's ruling on Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard King right now, what else from gaming to non-gaming should Microsoft try to make exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem?
Let's see.
I mean, they should, in a way that are we operating on the assumption that it's like
yes,
good?
Wink, wink. Should
nothing's good.
It probably comes from the perspective of if I were Microsoft, what would I want?
Simone provided by way of example, the British royal family should be an Xbox exclusive.
Okay, I don't know if that's what Microsoft wants. Or...
I was gonna joke the Y button, but then I remembered Nintendo also has that. It's just in a different place.
I kind of do want the British family to be an Xbox exclusive because all of the Xbox fanboys out there would not know what to do with they'd have to get really into the royals so that they could shove it in Sony's face.
So wait, do you perceive Okay, so this is just a side question here, Brandon. Do you perceive Xbox fanboys as being worse than PlayStation fanboys?
Oh, in no way.
I look at this stuff all the time, and
I feel like I perceive them as being about equal.
Yeah,
I think my perception changes on the day because it depends on what I'm looking. Like if I'm looking at a trailer for some Horizon Zero Dawnish game, then I know that there's going to be a bunch of Xbox people in there being like, it's trash.
Xbox better.
Then if there's a new Halo, they're like,
Sony
lol,
trash.
try getting Destiny or whatever. It's I don't know.
I don't mean to wield my authority here, but I very recently conducted an extremely exhaustive scientific survey
of who's the worst.
Yeah, and the PlayStation guys by a million miles.
Interesting.
They are bonkers. I don't know, man. They are a blueprint for a new generation of hate, man. Like, it's important for people to look at this. I'm doing important work here. I'll release more detailed answers, statistics and breakdowns later. But the PlayStation, I'll admit I like my PlayStation. I think the PlayStation's
I use mine.
Good. I mostly play PC games, as everybody knows, because for some reason I think I might have mentioned it once before. But I play mostly PC games. But whenever I turn on a console, most of the time it is the PlayStation 5.
Well, I think that anyone who has a PlayStation opted in to buying a PlayStation.
Yes.
Anyone with an Xbox went to the store and got the video game.
Yeah. And they've got the Game Pass.
Yeah.
I feel like people went there specifically to get Xbox. People who...
Oh, sure.
Some
people who are like in the Xbox Live ecosystem.
I heard a small child at the store the other day telling his mom that he didn't want a PlayStation 5. He wanted the console that would let him play the original Nier at 4K 60.
My 3-year-old son said to me.
And that child's name was George Washington, the first president of the United States.
Yeah, I would like to vote for him all over again.
And that's why Microsoft should acquire the likeness and legacy of George Washington as an exclusive for the Xbox.
I want to say one thing about the British royal family. I don't know if they should be exclusive to the Xbox, but I do believe they should be region locked. Thank you.
Oh, good joke. Good joke.
I'm going to answer this question really quick.
Yeah, I want to answer it as well, but let's have Frank first.
Let's do my really dumb answer, which is I think Microsoft should exclusively license the 90s animated cartoon Daria and restore the crappy 90s bands that were in the soundtrack and exclusively stream that on whatever their subscription thing is called.
On Xbox TV or whatever. Did they have a thing called Xbox TV?
Daria Remastered should be exclusive.
Daria Remastered?
Yeah.
Man, they should...
Daria of Sorrow.
You know what they should get? What would be a real clincher is if they got the original unspecialized editions of Star Wars.
Oh, that actually is a decent answer.
The only place to watch them in 4K without torrenting.
Without torrenting is
the only place is here on Xbox. You know what? No, in all seriousness, though, they should get exclusive rights to the Call of Duty franchise. I think would be real good for them.
Yeah, could probably help.
Is that just not going to happen because people are trying to say there's laws or whatever?
Yeah, well, it looks like the UK is going to block it.
They're like, it's because they're reducing competition in like cloud gaming or whatever.
Yeah,
like that's a thing. Sony bought some dudes. Like, I don't know. Sony's putting money under the table and pretending they're not. Like, man. I don't want to start stirring the conspiracy theory pot, but Sony is slipping big bricks of money under the table to keep Final Fantasy 16 exclusive to the PlayStation 5. Right?
Where's mine is what I want to know. I want my money brick.
Yeah, you're slipping big bricks. Like, I wonder how big that brick is that they slid under the table to the Final Fantasy 16 people. You're trying to tell me, it's integrated so well with the PlayStation hardware that we can't make an Xbox version. They like literally said something like this. It's like, really, how much of a thing? Like seriously, like, it requires the Gen 4 NVMe M.2 SSD of the PlayStation 5. I've had one of those in my goddamn PC since like 2019. Man,
yeah,
it's not magic.
The one thing where I almost buy it is Street Fighter 6, where they have like that instant rematch with no loading.
Yeah.
Like maybe that because
Xbox has one of those SSDs too, man.
Yeah,
They've got
they do.
the same goddarn SSD in their console in the Xbox Series X. It's not.
Yeah, I guess it's not
black magic. It's not
It's
supernatural.
not no rocket surgery.
Anyway, in conclusion, the Xbox should exclusively offer the lost original cut of Orson Welles' Magnificent Ambersons.
Oh
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mag-Amp.
Put the Day the Clown Cried up on there.
Yeah, that too.
Well, they should. You know what? They should just put Nier on the box. Say we got Nier 4K 60 original Nier, dude. We got
Hey,
it.
that
Yeah.
reminds me. What is the Day the Clown Cried of video games?
The day
you
the
can-
clown cried of video games.
Yeah,
okay,
well,
all
let's-
right, let's do this. Is this our
We
question?
already did this.
We've done it.
Did we?
at
We've
least
done
once.
this about 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
We do this every episode. This podcast is the goddarn Day the Clown Cried of video
Every
games.
time I have to remind myself what that is, and then I look at it and I'm like, man, this is too much for me to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, Microsoft should try to exclusively get the rights to something Japanese.
That would be nice, yes. A new Blue Dragon, why not?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it has to be something established. If they, you know what, Final Fantasy, if they tell Square Enix, we'll give you $5 billion to exclusively make Final Fantasies for Xbox, that would be an own. Because Sony's never made it formal. Sony's got this under the table deal.
A stupid amount of money in Succession parlance.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if they can't buy Activision, King, etc., they could buy Sega and Rovio. I don't want them to, but they could.
2 for 1.
You know, Sega on Xbox has always been a beautiful relationship,
It's
though.
true.
We can just say.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be super. It would basically turn the Xbox Series X into like Dreamcast 2 if they bought
Let that
Sega.
outrun.
I don't know.
Episodic Yakuza. Come on.
I do
Yeah,
have another
seriously.
question here.
Yeah.
What makes a new game plus feature the most enticing?
Shoot.
When it's the first option on the menu when you first boot up the game is that you can just play a game where your character has a bunch of compelling, exciting abilities and is wearing armor that looks cool and can jump a height that is actually pleasant instead of having his jump height reduced by 75% and his powers reduced by 96% and his outfit, he's wearing a burlap sack or whatever, and you've got to just play the game and grind up and open up in-game random number generated loot boxes to get your stuff and swipe your goddarn type your phone number at the CVS self-checkout in order to unlock the $9 discount on your $12 item by just like working your way, knitting your way through the skill tree. That's when a new game plus feature is enticing. When you just finish the video game for me and then let me play a video game with a character whose design is finished. I think they should just, let me pay $5 extra and then you just let me start God of War Ragnarok with everything unlocked, right?
Yeah.
Like, why not? Just let me have a new game plus for free, like a complete noob. Forget the difficulty discussion. Just give me all the abilities. Kratos has like 30 techniques that radically transform the way you play the game in God of War. And what you're telling me I gotta do 40 hours of work, community service in order to unlock them so I can actually play the real game? Like, come on, man. A new game plus, you get to start the game with all these abilities. Maybe you should have just had them all in there to begin with, man. That's when New Game Plus is
New
enticing.
Game Plus is an admission of failure on the developer's part.
Yeah, there should be Start Game Plus. Call it goddarn Start Game Plus, right?
Yeah. There's a narrative reason for these abilities that you could get in the regular game, or you could just start and play with everything that you're eventually going to get.
I mean, how many goddarn video games start with a guy who's a goddarn Superman, and then he gets, like, shot with a kryptonite bullet at the end of the tutorial? Oh, you've got to get all your powers back now, Superman, right? Alucard loses all his stuff.
Yeah. Although I don't mind going and getting all my stuff if it's a certain kind of game, but I understand where
There
you're
is a
coming from.
fun to it, sure. There is a fun to it, I guess.
I think for me, a new game plus thing that I like is when I've enjoyed the game and there's a promise of additional story or more people to talk to, more stuff to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, like more little dumb quests I can do in the new game plus. That's kind of what gets me interested. I don't start a lot of new game pluses, but when I do, that's what I hope to see.
I like when the bad guys wear a mask with your face on it in New Game Plus.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I like it when Dizzy becomes Benny and Shatsu becomes Blatzy and
I don't know what
Cappy
that
becomes
means.
Flopper.
I have no idea what any of this.
I don't like
nonsense
Cappies
is.
and Bloppers.
It's some old arcade game sounding things, what it sounds
It's
like.
from an old Kirby game. All the enemies change in New
Oh,
Game Plus.
Kerbert?
Yeah,
Kirby,
old
Kirby
Kerber.
blows.
So you say you start with Dizzy, and I'm just immediately on the egg, and that's
Yeah, me too.
I
Yeah.
can't escape that.
Yeah, and then I go from Dizzy the Egg to the level in Yoshi's Island.
Yeah,
with the character
I
named Dizzy.
touch Fuzzy
or
to
the
get
touching
Dizzy.
where you touch Fuzzy and you get Dizzy, and then a Dizzy becomes a what?
Dizzy becomes Benny.
Benny, you don't understand that at all. New Game Plus. Frank, every time when I was a young preteen, imagine that. First of all, I loved Super Mario World, and I would often just rip through the whole game just for the pleasure of ripping through the whole game. And then whenever I got to the point where I New Game Plussed it and it became autumn and the characters all had Mario faces, I just immediately deleted the file and started over because I thought it looked really bad.
It's wrong.
Yeah, I just thought this just looks too stupid. Why is it doing this? Why is that the reward? It's just a weird reward.
Oh, I guess one weird reward that doesn't actually do anything for me, but is kind of fun, is when it's like, okay, now you got big head mode, or now it's all slow-mo. All those Uncharted's are like, they just throw some dumb nonsense on there, and like, you can play through the whole serious video game, but now your head's 4 times the size. Or now it's black and white, or now there's a shader that makes everything 4 FPS. Or whatever.
Yeah, that rules.
Yeah.
I actually have to say that I think a New Game Plus mode is very enticing in a video game if the video game story concerns time travel, and that by replaying the game you can you realize you're actually the guy who already played through the game and is now re-entering an earlier point in time. And you can beat the game at different points to unlock different endings. That's actually kind of exciting.
It's almost nearish.
Round about 15 endings.
I can think of a few games this applies to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually, that's like pretty much the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know.
I like that answer. Here's my next question. What are some common terms that game designers use that game players never do?
Oh, shoot. There's a couple of them. I've accidentally started using like a few of them in like videos and streams and whatnot.
Well, now the kids are going to start doing it. Uh-oh.
Occasionally, I get people going, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" Right?
The question was terms, right?
Yeah.
Tomes.
So like,
I have
gray
a funny
boxing.
one here at work. So our office at the foundation, it's not very big, but we entertain a lot of visitors. So we kind of set things up where it's kind of like a vision of what the bigger thing might be, if we're able to grow into it. So, very nice library shelving, but there's only 2 of them, stuff like that, like art on the walls. But, it's this and 5 storage units. And I once described it as a vertical slice.
Oh, yeah.
Of like what we're going for, which, I mean, we all know that term here, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for those listening, that would be, if you're making a game, you might make a vertical slice, meaning like, a good solid 3 minutes or whatever of what we think the final game will be.
Includes a little bit of each layer of the cake.
Yeah.
As it were.
Exactly.
A largely fictional concept or a hypothetical concept that is thrown around by producer types and occasionally attracts a lot of resentment from the people who actually have to make the thing.
I would consider it a full game loop. Like,
Sure.
you can do all the
Sure.
main things you can do in the game in this vertical slice.
Yes.
So where I'm going with that is that I did that once, and co-director and occasional guest on the show, Kelsey Lewin, really liked that term and just uses it with everyone, and no one has known what that means. Like every time.
Great.
Yeah. I have to explain it every time.
That's a good term that I use in almost all of my videos, hilariously.
Vertical slice?
Yeah, I use it in almost all my videos, and it gets a lot of game developers get mad at me, which just makes it like they're like, you clearly don't know what that means, and you keep saying it. And it's like, no, I explained what I think it means.
It's a skateboard move, right? Like it's something like it's
I
midair.
like a nice horizontal slice. Just get the frosting all off there.
Just cut the give me just the frosting.
I guess this is sort of a biz term, and also a design term. But MVP is
Minimum viable product.
Minimum viable product is one that we do sometimes have to use.
FTUE, first time user experience.
I don't know that one. Never heard that one in my life.
I think user experience is a term that only
UX I get, yeah.
Only developers use, and even then most of them don't use it. I once said in a video that the only people who know what a user experience actually is are user experience designers, and I got several user experience designers thanking me for saying that. So that's a fun thing. Because, user experience designers are used to being confused. They think a lot of people think user interface and user experience are the same thing. How does one design the experience? Dude, it's basically level design for the human brain. It's a very complex field with much scholastic literature, pamphlets you have to read.
There are so many terms, but I don't use them. Because they're not super necessary in a small team. They're more like you have a common parlance for like an object that you can move over. Like they might call it a vaultable object or something like that. But they're just
interactables.
There are all these little terms and stuff that just aren't necessary when your team is less than 10 people.
I occasionally on streams will say something like, "Oh, this thing's a static mesh." It's not right, and I don't think anybody takes offense or gets angry or even really. Maybe not everybody knows what I'm talking about, but I love saying static mesh.
Mm-hmm. Not even those UX people watching your stream.
Prefabs. I love talking about prefabs.
Prefabs.
This is not a game one, but one that I use that no one has ever known but me. I'm going to just test the room here.
Oh, yeah. Here, hit me.
F/U.
F/U?
I don't know it.
Fix up.
Excuse me, sir.
I don't know where I picked this up, but it might have been my first job, which it's follow-up. So like follow-up with client, right? Like FU with blank.
I just never get back to anybody.
No one has ever... Maybe I made that up.
Maybe you did.
Just literally no one has ever known that.
I used to know all the dumb marketing and biz devy terms. So like, I still do, but like EOD.
EOD.
Sure.
EOD is another one that I actually, no. The worst EOD is COB. Completion of business, I think. But like, that's a real one.
Shoot.
Yeah, COB is like, come on.
Yeah.
Come
on. But I have used that one because I don't know, somewhere early in my life, I picked it up on a job. Like maybe when I was doing like administrative stuff at a clinic, much like Kelsey with the vertical slice. I'm like, everyone knows FU and COB.
I don't like
it's just not true.
Completion of business because it implies that, and likely correctly, that business does not end when your day ends.
Right.
And that like you have to keep going after 5 p.m.
See, I think COB is contrast to EOD because EOD could mean like 11:59 p.m., whereas COB could be the end of business hours.
I suppose. I guess you could look at it either way, really.
But I also I've never completed my business.
In the last couple of years in particular, I remember when I was writing at Kotaku.com, I'd come hot off of developing video games, which I did independently after developing video games AAA-ishly, and I was also involved in tech industry and whatever. And my writing often included words that other people didn't necessarily use conversationally. And I remember there being a backroom discussion, so to speak, at Kotaku.com about, why is everybody using the word mechanic lately in their writing? Like, why are you calling it a mechanic? The average Joe doesn't know what that means, right? And it's like, you call something a mechanic, you're just reducing, there's a whole other discussion there, but it's like, I feel like I've seen, thanks to social media, I'd hate to say thanks to social media, but because of social media and such over the past 10 years in particular, you've seen a lot of people use words that you would have never dreamed of seeing a layperson use in colloquial conversation about video games. Like, you would have never thought in the year 2006 or so, I would have never thought that 5 out of 9 video gamers would eventually know what like hitbox and hurtbox meant, right?
Iframes.
Yeah, I mean iframes is kind of a gamer word, I think, because it's something that necessarily wasn't always a 1,000,000% workshopped by the developer. I mean, obviously it is. The iframes are put in there on purpose. Anyway, I think you're just going to see more people use more words.
Yeah, and if Patrick Miller were here, he'd just give all the fighting game ones like Hitbox and Hurtbox and
Yeah, Hitbox and Hurtbox are like the two big ones I see used very widely.
Yeah.
We've been kind of circling this question unintentionally over the past couple topics. But
right.
I had it pre-written, not knowing we would go this way.
Kill me, bro.
How can user interface inform the themes and story of a video game?
Shoot.
A lot of ways. I mean, first of all, they can look like they belong in that world, which is cool.
Oh, you're talking about verisimilitudinous skeuomorphism?
Yeah, I'm talking about thems. And then on top of that, like we just did a UI change. In Demon School, we got an action phase and a planning phase for your tactical battles.
Uh-huh.
And we just changed the little graphic that tells you it's the action phase to be more action-y looking, and the planning phase intro graphic to be more like slow and languid, and it is now time to have a brain think, and it sort of prepares the player for the experience they're about to have. And that's the kind of stuff that you can do that is sort of subtle but means a lot in the grand scheme. Yeah, little animations, little bounces and flounces and flourishes are always important to that as well. Make things feel like they're really in the world.
I love it.
What are some games that have done this successfully, other than the one you're working on right now?
Persona 5 is one of those games that has like UI that people really enjoy, and it's a great lesson in that sort of thing, in how like livening up what is essentially just a basic list.
Just some words on a screen.
It's just words on the screen in an order.
Make it look like a clown wrote a ransom note, and everyone comments on how nice the UI is.
People have said, like with Demon School's UI, they're like, wow, you must have really looked at Persona 5. And we did, but the conclusion we drew was that as long as you make things look neat and shiny, but you can still read the order of things that are supposed to happen, then people will be like, this is amazing. But I think that is the ultimate lesson from Persona 5, which is, okay, so like it does tie into their, what do they call, the shadow, the group of thieves, shadow thieves?
The Phantom Thieves.
Phantom Thieves, that's the one.
It is a pretty generic name.
It ties into their look and everything, yeah. Their little black masks and stuff, and then when they're like running at the end of a battle, and it like the UI is sort of like in between the characters and stuff, even though still, again, it's like vertically stacked, and that's all it truly is. It just makes you feel like it's integrated. It makes you feel like it's involved in the video game. But I think the best I ever saw, which I must have mentioned on this show despite not knowing what the actual game is one of those Rainbow Sixes, I believe it was. It was certainly a Tom Clancy, where they were projecting like your objectives and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
With light sourcing on the walls. Well, I guess it was fake lighting,
that.
but it looked so cool. And that was, once I saw that, I was like, man, video games are really getting there, but nobody ever did that ever
They're
again.
close.
They probably patented it.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Those video games are almost something.
That's how they do it.
There's a patent that's just like interesting UX.
I think one real good way to get user interface narrative in your game is have an ancient civilization in
put it on a scroll.
a medieval-ish world that somehow invented the iPad.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like an iPad made out of rock that your guy carries around.
Sure.
And it's called the Sheikah Slate. That's a Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild. He's just carrying around it. And the Sheikah Slate has just beautiful font choices in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, those ancient people, man, they had good taste in fonts.
They knew what they were doing.
They had real good taste in fonts.
Well, it is a funny thing that you see very commonly in Japanese, like post-apocalypse oriented media, where they're like, there's this amazing technology that existed in the past that we now cannot replicate.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a really fun idea, because I just don't believe that that's something that would occur.
Yeah. It's there's a neat thing. I mean, there's an element of that in the the Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. The Horizon series, where there's ancient technology that the people are spending so much of their time researching, and it's like the ancient technology AI long ago created these giant robot dinosaurs that killed 98% of the humans or whatever. That's like a hyper realistic. It's like somebody looked at the Japanese trope of ancient technology and really like Batman Begins-ified it, tried to make it work in the world instead of Batman going to the circus after his parents are killed and learning acrobatics. He trains with some ninjas. They did like the Batman Begins-ified version of that. And I guess the Horizon games have a case of UI that is integrated into the world because your character, as a little girl, finds a little tiny Bluetooth earpiece in like a cave that's forbidden to all of her people, and she puts it on her ear, and it's basically like Google Glass. Like she has a Google Glass HUD that makes her like a superhuman among. I like that they're not coy at all about the origins of all the technology in Horizon Zero Dawn. There's no laborious dozens of hours long build up to the reveal that OMG it's actually Earth, right? Like they throw it right in your face first 15 minutes of the game, which I didn't know before I played it. I like those games. They're good. They just keep getting the trash beat out of them. They keep getting the trash beat out of them by like generational talent events. Yeah, they right like it's
their timing is always so poor, but it's got to be intentional.
It's not their fault. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
They're making these releases.
They've got an expansion coming out at the same time as the new Zelda. Lord,
generational talent. That brings me to my next question.
Let's hear it.
Shigeru Miyamoto recently said that negative reviews of the Mario movie helped it gain more attention.
I thought he was going to say negative reviews of the Mario movie made his wife like him less, or the Miyamoto's wife metric.
Yeah, she retroactively didn't like Nintendogs anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's true. Like that can't be the case.
Well, Miyamoto can't be wrong. So based on that theorem,
what was the question? Negative reviews of the Mario movie made Shigeru Miyamoto what?
I mean, Shigeru Miyamoto said that because there were negative reviews of the Mario movie, it helped the movie gain more attention. Okay. So with that in mind, let's criticize some things that we want to get more attention.
I see.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're presuming that is...
I think it's stupid that they wasted so much of Microsoft's money, that they pulled people off of Halo, that they canceled the new Gears of War, and that they shut down the Activision Blizzard acquisition just to get the original Nier running in 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't believe they would do that. Like, specifically the dad version, and not, like, I don't know why they would go out of their way to do specifically that one.
It's very strange.
Yeah. Weird choice.
And I just don't think it's right.
It's rude and bad.
I don't think they should do it.
God, I mean, like, having to build your own machine to play video games, like it's not worth it, like I
agree.
It's just so stupid to be able to play whatever you want all the time. I can't do it. Sorry.
Building your own machine.
It's just incredibly frustrating. Anyone who
it's
does
just
it
incredibly frustrating that I have a better console than any console all the time that has all of the Steam games on it. It's just really frustrating to me.
Steam is so good.
Steam is not so good. Come on.
There's just too many games on that Steam, and it's like the stuff is just so old. Like, they've got stuff on there that's just really old. They got like Half-Life 2 on there still. Like, you really need to update that store, right? Like, you got to have like just new
stuff. Get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah. It's just confusing the consumer that this platform has like every game ever made on it. It's just too much.
It doesn't have every game ever made.
It's got a lot of them.
Where's my PS2 games?
It's got Dolphin.
Brandon, you got any complaints?
No.
I mean, seriously, people like complaining about their backlog on Steam just kind of does just make me like Steam more, People are like, oh, I have 100. I have 95 games in my backlog. Oh, there's 95 things you're excited about? I don't know. Enjoy that is what I would do, which I do. I'm like, I'm so glad I've got all these games. I don't need to play them. I just like knowing they're there,
Nice.
I got stuff I know.
I don't have to play them. I know that I can play them, and sometimes that's enough.
There's also, have you all seen that there's this Asus Republic of Gamers is making a Steam Deck competitor? Have you seen this thing?
I did. It was like $700 or something.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah, this 120 hertz OLED 1080p screen. You can buy an external GPU, plug it into a TV. You know,
Dang.
It's an OLED screen. Do you really need an OLED screen on a handheld? That's a joke. Of course you do.
taking on the Switch and what we thought the Switch would be at the same time.
Yeah, man. And you know what?
What?
I'm just going to say this, and people, nobody agrees with this when you say this out loud. I've been playing Zelda Breath of the Wild now for a couple of weeks, and I have a PC that could run it at 4K, 120 frames per second, emulated. But I'm capturing footage of my playthrough. I'm playing the Switch version. I'm pretty far into the game. I just got the Master Sword. Congratulations to me. And I just want to say, I just really think that sometimes the graphics do get in the way of the game. I think that sometimes there's the colored filter on the screen, on the fog, and
I completely
it makes
agree
it
with you.
very hard to see stuff. I just really think the Nintendo Switch I just think it's a dead console, and they should make a new one that runs Breath of the Wild at 4K 60, is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. The Switch is the equivalent of how long I drove my 2002 Saturn, which was until 2 years ago.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
You really drove that thing.
I earned my new car. That's
What do you drive
did.
now, Frank? What do you got?
We got a Prius from not too long ago, and then we also have a second car. That's how much I earned by driving.
That's luxurious.
The second car is all electric Chevy something. It's like a little guy that's just plug-in charger.
Chevy Volt.
The Chevy little guy.
It's the Volt or the Spark. I don't remember.
It goes like 14 miles per hour. What? I'm kidding.
No,
they
it
go
goes real
fast.
fast. Oh, it goes so fast. So like 0 to 60 in like no time.
Yeah, the electric cars are pretty decent now.
And it's, it caps at maybe like good 50 miles, but it's my work car. It's awesome.
That rules. That rules. I was in one of those. I was in an Uber the other day, and it was one of those Teslas, and the thing freaked out. It ran into an abutment. I got thrown from the car 100 feet. I died.
Yeah.
They had to resuscitate me.
Yeah, I remember.
So I don't trust electric vehicles. That's my joke about that. I don't know what I'm talking about. If I were going to buy a car, I would just buy 2 BMWs, one for each foot. Wear them like shoes. That's probably how I would go.
We'll be right back after a quick break. This message is endorsed by the Insert Credit podcast and not the individual panelists. This is the Insert Credit Quick Break. I'm Alex Jaffe, and this episode is sponsored by Midautumn, a new story-rich roguelike dungeon crawler with an atmosphere that'll keep you coming back again and again to the magical world under the cozy town of Nambo Key. As the town's newest spirit guardian, you'll absorb the lunar powers of your enemies and reflect it back at them, unraveling a new secret every time you venture back into the spirit world. Midautumn, that's mid as in middle and autumn as in the season, will enter early access on Steam and itch.io on May 9th, and with a free demo available on May 4th. The Midautumn team reached out to us specifically because they thought our particular audience would really enjoy this game, so let's take them to task. This song you're listening to right now is from that game. Look for the free Midautumn demo on Steam and itch.io on May 4th, and for the whole game on early access May 9th. This week's Insert Credit is also sponsored by Games and Feelings, an advice podcast about games and feelings. We're talking tabletop games, party games, laser tag, escape rooms, game streams, Dungeons & Dragons podcasts, the companies and workers that make these games, just capital G games. Every week, Question Keeper Eric Silver and permanent guest Jasper Cartwright answer real questions from real people at the intersection of fun and humanity, since, by their nature, you have to play most games with other people. Previous guests have included Jacob Geller, Necrosoft's own Jenna Stieber, Caldwell Tanner, Bijan Stephen, and many more. Check out Games and Feelings if you've ever thought, how do you convince people who have only played Monopoly to play the new board game you grabbed at the game store? Is an escape room a good third date? What makes a video game cozy, and what are the cozy video games? Pick out any old episode from the Games and Feelings feed wherever podcasts can be found. In fact, probably however you found this one, just put Games and Feelings in the search bar and you'll be able to find it. If you like what you hear, subscribe to Games and Feelings in your podcast app now. New episodes every Friday. Hey, those were this week's sponsors. Maybe our next sponsor could be you? If you'd like to advertise with Insert Credit, send us an email at show@insertcredit.com. Don't be scared, you can probably afford us. Welcome back to Insert Credit. It's time for us to go to the dirt bag. This is the part of every episode where we get one of the questions submitted to us by our kind patrons at patreon.com/insertcredit, where you can submit these questions. You can get regular bonus episodes and our regular episodes ad-free. This week's question comes from JackOakleaf, who asks, how long should a cutscene be?
Shoot, 6 seconds?
0 seconds.
8?
I'm okay with
6.
more than 0. Like I understand the need for a cutscene, but I agree. It should be it should basically only be in an emergency where it's impossible or too expensive to tell it in gameplay, right? So it should just be a quick cut to convey a piece of information that you need to know, and then it should go back to gameplay.
If you're Hideo Kojima, it's okay to make a cutscene that's 2 hours long with a minute of gameplay and then another 90 minutes of a cutscene, because that's very funny, especially when it's the final boss of the game. That's very funny. But you have to earn that with lots and lots of gameplay before that. I just remember, so I've played a lot of PlayStation 1 RPGs recently for, I don't know why, right? I think we've all played a couple of them, right?
I've been playing some recently.
Yeah, I've played a lot of them recently, and there's a trend, astute viewers of my bonus content, I should say, will know what I'm talking about. There's a trend in PS1 RPGs to just make attack animations just longer and longer and longer, to just kind of compensate for the fact that the battle system design isn't very good.
And they were padding the hours.
Yeah. So it's, the example I keep unfortunately kicking around the yard like a soccer ball is Jade Cocoon, the would-be Pokemon usurper with the character designs by a guy from Studio Ghibli. That game has some of the most utterly laborious battle animations possible, and it tested my patience in such a way that for the few months after my experience playing the heck out of that game, I just lost my mind anytime a cutscene came up in any video game. Anytime I wasn't playing the game, I just immediately lost my goddarn mind. So what does that mean? I don't know. But summons in the Final Fantasies on the PlayStation, the summons were ridiculously long in Final Fantasy VII, even longer in Final Fantasy VIII, so much longer that they added a little button mashing mechanic, right? And it's basically just philosophically muddling the barrier between cutscene and gameplay, right? So it's the summon beasts in the Final Fantasy VII were some sort of cutscene that's playing during the game. You are playing the game, the battle system is the heart of the game, and here's a cutscene. And then they added hold down the select button and mash the square button to charge up your summon so it does more damage in Final Fantasy VIII. Absolutely blasting wrist pain havers the world over. And then in Final Fantasy IX, the summons were just 5 seconds long, and it's a million times better. Just hard and fast. So I feel the same way about cutscenes, is they should be a little harder and faster. And when I'm playing an old PC game and a pre-rendered cutscene comes up, and it's just an old grainy, nasty footage.
Yeah, you get one of those old games on Steam that are there for some reason.
Those goddarn old games.
And the cutscenes are in 4:3 and really compressed.
And then suddenly it snaps back to the gameplay and it's 4K, 120 frames per second.
It's awful.
And you're why didn't the cutscenes just do this?
Takes you right out.
I was being mean about cutscenes, but we do have them in Demon School also. But the way that we use them is kind of something interesting is going to happen now, and so we have a little short cutscene that's oh, something big is going on, and hopefully those feel nice. We'll see, but a lot of cutscenes definitely are they're long, and it's hard to, in a game where you have a bunch of dialogue and stuff, what constitutes a cutscene, really. Like,
Yeah.
if you're running around Final Fantasy VII, like, certainly the CG scenes are cutscenes, but what about the bits where you're hitting a
The
button,
dialogue
but
scenes-
all you're doing is dialogue?
Oh, yeah, certainly. I remember there being some confusion in RPG communities at some early period in the PS2 era. Some people had started calling just any dialogue scene a cutscene, and it's like, that's not a cutscene, that's a dialogue. And then it's like, a dialogue is essential to the game. That is the soul of the goddarn video game, dude. And someone being like, I think it's boring, though. And it's like, what are you goddarn playing it for? So I think cutscene has, since around then, been reserved for, just to describe like any kind of a flashy,
non-interactive cutscene with CG and such.
yeah, that can be summarized in like a sentence or two, like a train blows up and bodies fall everywhere. I don't know why that's what I came to think of. Rather, you can summarize it in like 2 sentences, but then some CG artists spend a lot of money on it. I think I've been playing a video game called The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I've heard of it.
There was a really neat mechanic where your ancient iPad has a bunch of photos on it that Princess Zelda took with it when she had it, when it belonged to her, when it was her phone, right? And if you can find all these photos, it will unlock cutscenes.
Find my phone toes.
Did you all play Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I did them all. I got all them cutscenes.
I had a real good time getting them all.
Yeah.
Well, there's one I didn't get, which I think I have to go into the castle to get it. I tried to get it, ended up running away. But I'll get it soon. I think that, first of all, that framing for the cutscenes was really, really smart, especially because canonically there's a guy who tells you where to get one. He's like, you should go here. I'm a painter, and I've seen all the landscapes, and I know where this is.
I'm also a bird.
Yeah, they like tutorialize that, and then you go get it, right? And then it's like photo number 6 of 12, right? So it's like, it's not even the first one. So it's like they're canonically encouraging you to get them out of order and piece together this little story. And so I like the framing device of having to earn the cutscene, of getting the cutscene as a little dog treat for doing this weird open world exploration that you're encouraged to do. And then to top it all off, I think every one of the cutscenes is right about the right length. They're like 1.5 minutes long, and it might take you like an hour to get to the right place and put the camera in the right angle and think, maybe this is it. Maybe I should go a half mile that way. So when you're saying how long should a cutscene be, I believe you need to factor, it needs to be a formula. Like you need to factor in the length of the gameplay needed to get that cutscene and the manner the cutscene is delivered. Is it delivered as a reward, right? The way the original cutscenes at the end of the levels in Ninja Gaiden were delivered as a reward for putting up with some absolute hateful nonsense. Birds knocking you off of platforms, right? Like you unlock a 12-minute extremely slow-paced, really like hyper melodramatic scene by literally the guy who'd go on to write Xenogears. I don't know. What was I talking about?
I'm gonna say a cutscene should be about 36 inches.
Oh, very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of thing you're talking about, Tim, is what led NEC down the path toward making the PCFX, where they were like, yeah, people like these animated cutscenes. What if we made that most of the thing?
Mm-hmm.
And big time fail time for that.
Yeah. FMV games, too.
Yep.
People love these. People are gonna love this stuff.
Here's my next question. This one is from me. Which video game protagonist's job would you want to do the least?
Oh boy, most of them. I don't want to fight no monsters.
Yeah.
I don't want to shoot anybody.
Yeah.
Most of them. Most of those jobs are abhorrent to me. I mean, I think at best I could handle maybe a portion of a Harvest Moon job, maybe, but I don't want to do that either. That's grueling work.
I don't know. The question is, what do we want to do?
No, least.
Least one.
Which one
okay.
do you least want to do?
Well, because I don't want to do like any of them. Like,
Yeah.
I think the more interesting question is, which one would you do? It's like, I don't know, Cooking Mama.
Yeah, so Cooking
Sure.
Mama. I think the one that we can all agree upon, the one we would all least want to do is any game where you play as a police officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Nappy.
particularly the first half hour or so of LA Noire comes to mind. Don't want to do that one.
Yeah.
Right?
And Mappy, as Chaffee mentioned. of course.
Mappy would be the,
Too much
that's
bouncing,
definitely,
yeah.
don't want to do that goddarn guy's job either, because he's a goddarn little narc.
Yeah.
What if Mickey Mouse were a fascist? I don't understand. Like, that's just weird.
It's redundant, bro.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be like Super Mario, just straight up, ducking into a sewer.
Yeah.
Bonking mushrooms.
Doing whatever he does down there. Yeah.
Crawling around in turds, eating mushrooms all the time. That's
dinosaurs.
Weird. Yeah. A dinosaur, like trekking through Dino Hatton. Like, that's weird. That's a reference to the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
You got to like open the door and then get on the floor.
Yeah, and then you got to walk the dinosaurs.
I wouldn't want to be bonked because you got to eat meat, which I don't do, and chewing your way up a waterfall seems a lot harder in real life.
I don't think that's his job, though. I think that's recreational.
His job is being a caveman.
Yeah, I think his job is being a caveman. Maybe it's not so bad.
That's hunting and gathering does not sound like a fun job.
No, but he doesn't do it in the game. So maybe he's just...
Well, we're talking about their jobs, like their careers, not game mechanics.
Yeah.
I think the more hyper-realistic a game, the more easy it is to relate or not to the job. And I think the Yakuza games are in a sweet spot of hyper-realism and arcade campiness, because there are a lot of hyper-realistic details about how organized crime actually works in Japan that are embedded within the campy plot beats of a Yakuza game, which is very it's kind of a balance you don't see pretty much anywhere else in modern art. It's pretty neat. There's a lot of stuff that's just the way their offices look, the sorts of rackets they're actually running. It's actually quite marvelously detailed. So I would say I wouldn't want to do any sort of a Yakuza job.
No.
I just think that would be bad. I would be morally opposed to it. And also, Brandon, I'm sure you've seen the Super Mario Brothers movie already. That's a joke.
Yeah, I have not.
You probably haven't seen. I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to spoil it for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that canonically in the movie, Chris Pratt's Mario hates mushrooms.
Nice.
And when he has to eat the mushroom to get big, he hates it. And it causes him physical disgust.
I don't like this. That's what he says.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes. Indigestion, here we come.
Here we come. One that I would do is Ridge Racer Driver, because you get to drive cool cars and hear cool music, but nobody ever gets hurt. Like when you crash into
safeties.
a wall, you just
bounce right off.
And your car looks fine, and you make money as you win. Like that seems
drive
okay.
Rubber cars, win rubber prizes, right?
Yeah. I'd be a real rubber baron.
You just made me snort water out of my nose.
Just broinging all over the race course. That's the high life for me.
Yeah.
I'd do
for
that.
Certain.
Much better than the Gran Turismo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what job I would least want to do, actually, is I would hate to be the ice cream man in Twisted Metal's world.
Yeah.
Sweet Tooth, that guy. I think that's a bad job to have, because you're an ice cream man, but also a serial killer of children.
And
no
customers in the world of the video game. Like, there's nobody around that you can sell to, so you're just going to be dirt poor.
It's Twisted Metal, Scorched Earth. Did you see they're making a Twisted Metal TV series?
No.
They're just doing it. They're
I really want to know the background of Sweet Tooth. I'm so into it. I gotta know.
I
gotta know where he came from, who that guy is.
It's gonna be played by Joaquin Phoenix, probably.
How did he get that truck?
We got to get the guy who played the Joker to play Sweet Tooth.
The disease of people trying to delve into the backstory of every possible half-considered creation is...
It's absolutely mental, mate.
There's a little too muchery going on.
On the other hand, have you heard of the Gran Turismo movie?
No.
They're making a movie called Gran Turismo. It's licensed by Gran Turismo, and it's based on the true story of a kid who liked Gran Turismo and became a race car driver.
I did hear about that.
He last Starfighter'd himself.
And the avuncular guy who teaches him the ropes of driving big old American muscle cars is played by David Harbour, who everybody wanted to play Joel in The Last of Us TV show. So it's very confusing times here at the Video Game Appreciators Society.
The Sony Ranch.
You know what? That guy's cool, though. That David Harbour guy, whatever, he's cool. I watched that Stranger Things, and the only impression that remains in my mind is that guy's cool. So there you go. I don't know what that means. He's a straight up direct to video style actor. They got the right guy for that movie or that show. And he's going to be a car teacher. Sounds fun. That's the job I would want. I would want to be the old grizzled guy who teaches a kid how to become a race car driver in a story mode of an upcoming Gran Turismo game, which will probably come out 14 to 22 years from now, because those games take increasingly too long to make, and then they deliver very They underdeliver. I'll be old enough to be a grizzled old car teacher at the time that game comes out. So
you know what? It's been long enough since I asked this, so we might as well address it again. What is the day the clown cried of video games?
Heck.
Oh God.
Okay, I have zero recollection of this being asked before. So
We've asked it in 2013 and twice in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were our answers? Let's just establish that.
It's a Mario movie where Mario kills his wife on accident.
Okay.
It's just a
Man, I don't remember. So
I mean,
yeah,
Okay.
I couldn't tell you.
I feel like the day the clown cried in light of recent news would be like if they'd made a sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie, which Shigeru Miyamoto is now publicly burning the original Super Mario Brothers movie. Have you seen this? He's like publicly burning it. He's like publicly crucifying this movie.
That's
and
too
being
bad.
like,
I like that one.
the original Mario movie was so bad and so stupid, and we hated it so much, and it was so unsuccessful, and it was really bad, and it was really stupid, and we had to make a new Mario movie, and that's why it took us 30 years. So it's like my current thinking now is that there was a second one that was like, why didn't Miyamoto say something back then? First of all, probably because, he's a Japanese businessman and he's very, very conservative about revealing his opinions. He smokes a lot of cigarettes. I don't know. Like, I'm now believing that there might have been like a second Mario movie planned by these people who made the first Mario movie, which I think is cool, by the way.
Love that movie.
That first Mario movie rules. It's not the best movie ever made, but it is phenomenal trash.
Yeah.
If you're in the mood for phenomenal trash, check it out.
If you like sci-fi and the post-apocalypse in films, and
dinosaurs and Mario and
gender positivity and body positivity,
more references to Super Mario Land than to Super Mario Brothers. And if you want to see a gross Yoshi, a Groshi,
yeah, I love that Groshi.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, weird movie. So my current thinking on what the day the clown cried of video games is that the people who made that first Mario movie had already, before, like at the time it came out, they had already written a script for the sequel. This is my canonical thinking. And Shigeru Miyamoto saw it and just tried as hard as he could to pull the plug.
He was in a Doki Doki Panic.
And whatever that second Mario movie is the front page of the script is like rating NC-17 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like they were gunning for the most absolutely brain blasting thing possible. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd buy it.
I've
been
that's
frantically trying to find a positive quote from Miyamoto about the original movie because I know I've read one, but I can't find it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever. It was certainly something very, very business minded.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. They really did take a chance with that Mario. Man, I watched that Mario movie. I've seen the Mario movie. The Chris Pratt Mario. I went to see it. Dolby Cinema, Times Square, a couple kids in cosplay, row behind me, laughing at the jokes, clapping at the Easter eggs. And it really is more so than your typical thing. It's just video game logic in a movie, like in like the worst way. It's just like, we got to go to Donkey Kong World to meet Donkey Kong. And then Donkey Kong's like, well, if we're going to fight Bowser, just in like Seth Rogen's voice, lol, I smoked some weed and now I'm an ape. Like, he's just like, if we're going to fight Bowser, we're going to need some carts. And they go into the Mario Kart garage, It's just stuff strung together in this world.
Did you gasp when they showed the Mario Karts? Were you like,
I clapped at the reference.
It's setting up this building block structure that's going to allow them to add on whatever Nintendo thing they want to add on in the future.
I hope nobody got hit with a blue shell right as they were about to reach something.
Oh,
I've got bad news for you, Brandon.
Yeah.
I assume that did happen.
There literally is. And Princess Peach is like, I know a shortcut back to the Mushroom Kingdom. And guess what? It's Rainbow Road, of course. So,
of course,
because it's just all. It's interesting to see.
It's turtles all the way down.
It's interesting to see something that is just like a sellout wrapping a sellout. Like something that's just full of sellouts all the way down. It's like, but what does it have to sell out to other than itself? It's very philosophically an interesting thing. I had a good time watching it though. Whatever, except the AMC Empire 25 in New York City, 42nd Street. I just have to say, they don't salt the popcorn there, which I don't understand. Am I supposed to bring salt? I've seen 3 movies there this year. No salt on the popcorn anytime I went. Am I supposed to salt it? Seriously. Like, I don't understand.
Ever since my health incident, I've stopped putting salt on my popcorn. I don't miss it that much. I've gotten used to it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've eaten plenty of unsalted popcorn myself.
I wouldn't eat it without it.
My whole life is nutrition. But
so Day the Clown Cried. I think it's.
Oh right.
I don't know if we used this one before.
Let's do it.
But I feel like Chris Crawford's story game that he's been working on for like 30 years, which is like predictive generative story.
You know that came out like 10 years ago. Right?
Oh, did it come out?
You just reminded me what we said it was all 3 times in the past. We always come to the conclusion that it's Peter Molyneux's Milo game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's great. Yeah. That's a great answer.
I think in light of breathing some fresh air into it, I think it's just worth saying that it's you know what? It's Tommy Tallarico and the Intellivision Amico. That's the Day the Clown Cried of video games.
I like it.
I don't know. I have more to say about that, but who cares?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Tommy Tallarico as a man, is the Day the Clown Cried.
Is he the clown who cried?
because the Day the Clown Cried being famously unreleased, right?
Yeah,
and then Tommy Tallarico. Semi-recently debunked as having ever really contributed anything to anything, right? So it's like Tommy Tallarico's MTV Cribs episode. Is that the Day the Clown Cried of video games? Have we all watched that H-Bomber Guy video about Tommy Tallarico?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It's okay.
I'm just recommending that again. So it's necessary reporting on video game history.
And it's only half of the stuff that we could talk about.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's just whatever he could Google.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than that.
And it's like people are still digging stuff up and it's really great. And it's like at this point, it's like literally we cannot name a track that he definitely composed in anything.
I love it.
I mean, so there you go. This comes down to like someone found the 77-year-old composer who did all of Earthworm Jim.
Oh, that rules.
It's just this like relatively unknown guy. And he's like, yeah, here's the MIDI files. So
that's amazing.
Well, and then it gets even better. So Earthworm Jim 1 and 2, maybe just 2, also uses some classical music pieces. Someone was able to demonstrate that he downloaded MIDI files off of the internet, and his only way of modifying them was to change the tempo. Like he doesn't even arrange classical music.
Yeah, that's so good. I think we still have to give credit to H-Bomber Guy for that video because
sure, he took the lid off.
Well, he did the work of actually compiling it instead of being in this weird subreddit.
Yeah,
putting it somewhere very very, and also just being entertaining as heck about a subject that is inherently just a curio, man. But yeah, I'm comfortable saying that Tommy Tallarico as a man is a human. Is a Day the Clown Cried made out of meat of video games. He's like just the man, That's what I would say. Can we give a man higher praise than that? I don't know.
I don't think we can. I think what we can do is go on to our final segment. We're playing one of my favorite games. It's time for Famicom Feud.
Okay.
This is the game where I have a pre-written list of subjects that fit a certain criterion that you all have to take turns guessing. You all have 3 strikes amongst yourselves. Once you get 3 strikes, you're out of the game. Whoever the last person standing is wins.
You said they fit a certain criterion. I think you meant they fit a certain Janus.
Yes.
Oh, good joke.
That's a reference to something that wasn't in this episode. You'll hear about it in the bonus if you subscribe to patreon.com/insertcredit.
Nice tag team. That's what I intended.
Yeah. Each of you has 3 strikes. We're going to start with Frank. We're going to go to Tim. Then we're going to go to Brandon. Okay. Here's what we are doing. From 2004 to 2009, and then one more time in 2011, Playboy magazine had a monthly issue where they featured video game characters as models. Insert credit dirtbag Gaga Geens bought me a 1-month subscription to Playboy's archive service so that I could go through each one and make a full list of every featured character. Each of you has 3 strikes to name as many of the characters or the games they're featured in, I'll be kind there, as you can. The last one standing wins the game. Frank, can you name one featured character in the Playboy Gamer issues?
Are we allowed to know what a featured character means? Does that mean they are posing?
They're posing, yes.
Okay. I'll just do the easy first one out of the gate, which is Lara Croft.
Show me Lara Croft. No, they never use Lara Croft.
Too high profile. The girl from Fear Effect, she in there?
Fear Effect. Show me Fear Effect. No girl from Fear Effect.
Really? Oh, that just seems like the kind of trash they'd go for.
My turn. Nikki from Pandemonium, aka Magical Hopper.
After 2004?
Oh, it was after 2004?
Yes, it's 2004 to 2004 to
2009,
2009, and then one more time in 2011.
I will give this back to Brandon if we all agree.
Okay. I will agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Just because it's no fun if none of you get one.
we're gonna go the full thing, and it's gonna turn out that was the last one. Was actually IDOS dragged her back out. Square bought IDOS, and their first act was to put that character in Playboy.
Okay, Heavenly Sword Lady.
No, that's Sony! But, okay, go ahead.
Show me what? Heavenly Sword Lady. Nope, not on the list.
What do you mean it's Sony? What is that?
Heavenly Sword was released by Sony. They wouldn't want to do this because they would want to try to be family friendly, squeaky clean.
All right.
Yeah.
You're not going to see Princess Zelda in here. You're not going to see any Final Fantasy characters in here. No Japanese characters, and no characters first party published by Japanese corporations is what I would assume, right?
Ooh, maybe, probably.
I'm going to say not necessarily.
Oh, okay. What do I know?
I think I'm ready. I think I got a good one. Blood Rain.
Show me Blood
Rain.
Yeah,
definitely Blood Rain.
Blood Rain was
my
the
guess.
First featured Playboy character in October 2004.
That was my guess. My guess was Blood Rain, so I don't know. I literally just I don't know any of the others.
That's all of them. Yeah.
I have no idea. Blood Rain was like the trashy video game character that had several movies. I'm like, oh, that certainly would be there. I don't even know any. I've seen.
There's 6 more now? Oh my god.
6? There's how many are there? 7?
Oh, there are tons because there were multiple featured characters per issue.
Jeez.
So there are a lot of
Are they naked? Or are they all naked? That's my question. Are they all nude?
Are any of them nude?
Are any of them nude?
They're in various states of undress.
I figured.
Okay. So nobody's fully undressed.
Okay, can we know when they are featured, are they definitely posed in like an erotic way as opposed to like here's just a piece of concept art?
No, they're all posed in an erotic way.
Okay, thank you.
I don't follow any of this trash. I don't know.
You gotta guess.
I don't really know anything about Playboy, to be perfectly honest.
You know female protagonists in games that weird people want to have virtual sex with. You know this.
I mean, yeah, I know there's that, but it's like Playboy is this famous old magazine, this institution.
But they're trying to be hip, and they are working with current marketing.
Video game publishers.
Yeah, like this is something that marketing buys into and probably pitches them on.
Obviously, no Lara Croft, but Blood Rain was yes. You said 2004 to what?
2004 to 2009, and then one more in 2011.
Okay, so every time they had how many?
They had 2 in 2004. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 in 2005. They had 7 in 2006. They had 6 in 2007. They had 6 in 2008, and they had 1 in 2009 and 1 in 2011.
I don't know. I don't know. It's like I can think of game names.
He said you can do that.
That's acceptable as well.
Game names are allowed.
Is there somebody from Mortal Kombat in there? Like, because Mortal Kombat was in its like trash heap phase at that
Show
point.
me Mortal Kombat.
That's a great answer.
No Mortal Kombat characters.
No Mortal Kombat characters? That's so weird.
Okay, if they didn't do this, they were missing out on their demographic. World of Warcraft. I know they don't have like specific named characters, but I feel like there's got to be like a dark elf.
There are some named characters.
Oh, there's tons of specific named characters.
World of Warcraft. No World of Warcraft characters.
What? That's a mistake.
Frank currently in the lead with only 1 strike to Tim and Brandon's 2.
So I'm trying to think of other Majesco ladies, and I've only got Cooking Mama, which I'm not going to say.
Majesco. I would love to see them try to make Cooking Mama hot.
All right, check this out. You ready?
I'm ready.
Resident Evil.
Ooh, show me Resident Evil. Nope, no Resident Evil.
No Jill Sandwich, huh?
Good guess, though.
Is that 1 strike or 2 for me?
That's your
2.
second strike.
Tim and I are almost
Tim
out.
and Brandon, they are about to strike out.
Yeah, I'm going to probably just strike out. Just strike me out, bro. Princess Daisy from Super Mario Land.
You're not trying. Come on.
Okay, what it's these are probably just like Western games that
Mostly.
yeah, they're well. I mean, the ones I would guess would have to be Western games. Because I'm sure if a Japanese game was there, it's like some tangentially like weird. There are a lot of Japanese video games that in Japan are for losers, like specifically. Like no joke, no offense to losers, right? But it's I don't know. I just can't really think of one or a game franchise. I just can't.
I can give you a hint in the purpose of prolonging this segment. The 2011 issue was only released in Poland.
Oh, it's clearly The Witcher. I mean, duh. There's obvious, yeah. That would, I mean, those characters are naked in the Witcher game, though.
Clue.
So it's you got to give Brandon as big a clue.
I will give Brandon as big a clue.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Show me The Witcher. Yes, Triss Merigold was in fact featured.
Oh,
in
that'd
Playboy.
be the man. You should have let me guess which one. Obviously, it's Triss Merigold. You're not going to have Yennefer in there because she's too cool.
Morin was featured in the 2007 issue, so that was the second Witcher character in Playboy.
That's so stupid. Oh,
Okay,
God.
Brandon, I got to give you a clue because you have 2 strikes. Think about games from this era with famous sex scenes.
Oh,
Mass Effect.
Dragon
Oh,
Age.
Show me Dragon Age. Oh, I'm sorry, Dragon Age is not on the list.
What?
Man, I literally was going to say Mass
Okay, well-
Effect next, but Tim just said that, even though it's not a canonical guess. So now I
You
feel
can
it.
go ahead and say, take it. Take it,
Before I
bro.
got the I'll just give this to you all.
Okay.
Before I got my hint, my 2 guesses were Chun-Li, maybe they got her, and then Faith from Mirror's Edge.
I'm going to say both of those are no. I'm going to dismiss those.
I do not agree that Faith from Mirror's Edge would be used that way. I think
Okay.
PR was pretty good about that.
I don't agree.
EA partners would kind of knew what they were doing at that time. Yeah.
Frank, you got 2 strikes, so I'm going to give you as big a hint. Think about licensed video games that aren't necessarily original video games. They could be video games that are based on other things. That applies to some of these.
Oh.
Licensed games.
Yeah, I was thinking Witchblade.
Witchblade? Is that what you just said?
That's what I said.
This Blade.
All right, I'm going out on a limb. This is something that I was keeping in my back pocket right under Mass Effect, and it ties into your clue. Show me Harley Quinn.
Show me Harley Quinn.
From Arkham Asylum?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Mr. J.
Tim, let's give you one chance to either tie or beat Frank.
All right. T.O.B.
Yeah, I will give you one more clue.
Mine came without a clue.
I don't need a clue. I don't need a clue.
Okay, no clue.
I don't need a clue because you already gave me a clue. When I said there's probably no Japanese games in there, you said, I don't know, maybe there are.
I'm going Square Enix.
Makes me think the trashiest, most obvious one would be like a Dead or Alive character. So that's my guess.
Show me
'Cause
Dead or
that's-
Alive.
That's the
No.
big booby. Wow,
Dead
the
or
big
Alive.
booby video games.
What about Mai Shiranui?
That's a really good guess, but I don't think appropriate to the era.
I don't think she had the mainstream appeal.
2004 to 2009 isn't really her period.
Yeah, I guess they didn't really.
All right, give us a
Okay,
list.
so let's
Yeah.
see how well you know these characters. The other
Yeah.
character in 2004 was Lubalicious from Leisure Suit Larry Magna Cum Laude.
Okay.
No, don't like it. Next
2005 was Light Girl from Mojo Master.
From what?
one. Wrong.
Mojo
That's wrong.
Master.
That's wrong. Next one, please.
Valkyrie from Gauntlet Seven Sorrows.
So
Okay.
hot.
Lord.
Avalon from Hellgate London.
Okay, yeah,
Forgot
that's
that existed.
definitely a video game bound for Playboy. I remember that one.
Jackie Dunwoody from Blitz the League.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Here's one you should have gotten. Carla Valenti from Indigo Prophecy.
Oh, David Cage. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a David Cage thing, but obviously.
Tala and Cassidy from Darkwatch.
Okay.
I don't remember Darkwatch. This should have been a give me. The Fairy Queen from Playboy The Mansion.
Oh.
I played that game and I have no idea what a fairy queen is.
Yeah,
so
I was
no.
sure, Frank, you were going to guess at some point just Playboy The Mansion, and that would have been a point for you. This was the one I was heavily hinting at earlier. The Oracle from God of War.
Oh.
Famous sex scenes. Lita and Persephone from God of War 2 were in the next year's issue.
So Sony did go for it.
Alexa Thompson from 50 Cent Bulletproof. That's the
Crikey
licensed game.
Lord. Lord.
All right, that takes us 2006.
Man, what an era.
Yeah. What a period of video games. Sarah Morrison from Tabula Rasa.
Okay.
Jessica McRae from Scarface, The World Is Yours.
No, I think I know that game.
This one really surprised me. Alicia Claus from Bullet Witch was in Playboy.
Oh, I vaguely remember that happened.
Yeah.
God, that's hot as heck. Was she nude?
I don't recall. I didn't linger on these images too long.
You have a subscription.
It lapsed. I did this segment in February, and then I had a heart attack, probably from looking at this.
I don't care.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Jasmine Lin from Time Shift.
Okay. This is just a list of games I vaguely remember.
Right.
That they existed.
Games that existed like before Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
And had no other way to market themselves than we got a goyle in here.
We got boobies.
Super late PS2 game.
Want to see dem boobies?
Yeah. Enrica Villablanca from Splinter Cell Double Agent.
Okay.
Kiara and Akana from the Conan games.
So we did just have an IDOS character, which is where I was going next, because I was like, I don't know, some lady that's in the Deus Ex games was my next one.
Speaking of which, we have Yoko Redamoto from Kane and Lynch, the first one.
Okay.
Oh, love that game.
So Square Enix, I was right about.
There was Square Enix, yeah. There's Church in Black from Clive Barker's Jericho.
All right. Or as I call it, Jerry Corporation.
Another one I was going to guess was in my pocket was something from Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good guess. But no, Sarah Morrison from Tabula Rasa is the only character featured twice. She was in 2006 and 2007.
So popular.
People were just clamoring for more, yeah.
The Polecats from Afro Samurai. Candy from Ride to Hell. Violet Summer from Velvet Assassins. Shondi from Saints Row 2. That would have been a guess. Jack and Yakid Khan from Damnation. Atalanta from Rise of the Argonauts. And one last one in 2009, the other Japanese character, Aya from Onechanbara.
Oh, God, that's so
Remember Onechanbara?
I mean, of course I do, but
that's like I said, video games that are nominally for losers. Yeah, right. That was what that was.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that it would have been made a blip.
D3 Publishers.
That was the last official international one, and then in 2011 they brought it back just to put Triss in it.
Nice.
So those are all the video game characters featured in Playboy.
That sucks.
It sure does. Tim, Frank, you are our double winners. Congratulations. Tim,
we gotta find this Alicia issue.
Yeah.
We gotta find it.
November 2006, if you want to find it. Frank, that really should be in your Video Game History Foundation archives.
Oh,
we
get them all, dude!
I can give you the issue numbers. I have them here.
I don't think that's...
It's so funny to joke.
You got Frank over a barrel here.
You really do.
Just because it's bad history doesn't mean it's not history.
Yeah. I want you to know that as we're talking, my eyes are staring at the bookshelf where Play magazine is, Halverson's Play magazine, where there was an annual Girls of Gaming that is basically this, and I'm sure Blood Rain is on the cover of one of them. Oh, I should have pulled those. I should have cheated and pulled those.
Yeah.
Phil, do not pull them. I don't want these. No, thank you.
God, that's so good. Play magazine, Dave Halverson.
I had to, in an actual physical store, I found one back in October or something. In like a used bookstore in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh man, yeah, that's a heck of a place to go.
Go up to the register and look someone in the eye and buy Play Magazine's Girls of Gaming Volume 3 or whatever.
Nice.
That's so good. That's so good, dude.
Because they are on eBay and they're expensive for some reason.
That rules.
It's important video game history. That's why they're expensive.
Well, you're going to have to get these Playboys, Frank.
No, I don't.
For sure.
I am not getting the Playboys. No.
Put little sleeves over them.
It's so fun to, like, in the year 2023, as a full middle-aged adult, like, joke with a guy about how he has to buy Playboy magazines for his job. I just got to say, it's genuinely amusing.
Yeah.
It's just very funny. Oh, you got to do it, Frank. You got to read Playboy. It's like such a 1980s schoolboy.
You got to look at a girl.
Goyles.
If anyone listening has these Playboy issues, sure.
Yeah,
I will take them. I will not acquire them. But if they materialized, we would add them to the library.
You won't acquire them, but you're willing to obtain them.
I decided to try to look one up, and it's $6. $6 to
I'm
get...
not paying for them.
$5.99 US.
I am not using the money of our patrons to purchase issues of Playboy that have video game people in them.
All right.
Oh, man.
But if they materialize, I would make Phil catalog them. He just sighed.
When's your birthday, Frank? I might get this for you for your birthday.
I don't know. Not for my birthday. This is not a gift for me.
Yeah.
It's a gift for charity.
Happy birthday,
If any
Frank.
listeners, okay, here's the deal. If any listeners happen to already have them, that's the cost. Like you have to admit that you already had this and send it in.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any recommendations? Frank already did his, which is to send him your old Playboy.
My
magazine.
recommendation is go to gamehistory.org/donate and give us money so we buy some porn mags.
Yeah, specifically earmark it in the donation field for Playboy.
No, I have to adhere to that if you do that. Please don't do that. I legally would have to. So please do not donate money to us and make me buy issues of Playboy with it.
See, to me, that sounds like that bit earlier where we were complaining about something that we really didn't want to have happen. Anyway, I got some recommendations.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a story. It's not too long. It's not too exciting, though.
People love when stuff's not exciting.
Yeah, I know. That's why they listen to this show. So,
PPC.
if you're like me and you have a CRT that has like 25,000 things plugged into it, you may
Grow
have
up.
at some point come to find that some of your electronics or some of your like my PC Engine would have like a little line warble through it, or sometimes my VHS player would have a little warble, and I would think it was the tracking, or I would think it was the connector or whatever. But ultimately, I discovered, to make a long story short, what you got to do if you're in the same situation here is put everything, as many things as you can, on different power strips. So I've got 3 power strips. Everything that goes into one input is on one power strip, so I can turn it off. And if you do that, it turns out that the real problem with a CRT is the more things that draw power that are connected to it, the more likely it is to disrupt the signal with electrical interference. So if you turn off put all your component consoles or whatever into one power strip, so you can turn that off when you're not using component, then you'll be in good shape. So that's just that's a problem that took me a really long time to figure out the source of. So I figure that might help somebody at some point. 2 more things to recommend. One is I finally watched that stupid Bullet Train movie on Netflix. That was very funny and stupid.
I had a good time with that movie.
Yeah. Funny and stupid.
Brad Pitt's hilarious in that.
Moves along real good.
You got that, what's his name? That Brian Tyree Henry in there.
Yeah, Hiroyuki Sanada's in there. It's not very kind toward Japan in general as a culture, but it is written by a Japanese guy.
It doesn't even, it might as well not even actually be set in Japan. Well,
except for all the bowing and all the ignoring of problems.
I mean, the train they're on looks, the lighting, I was having a good time joking with Mimsy the whole time we watched it.
Yeah, and the idea that he was going to get away that long without having his ticket. Anyway, my other recommendation, and this is just something that I think is something Frank would appreciate. I was talking about this a little bit before the show, is I don't necessarily recommend the streaming service Shudder to Frank, but I recommend...
Is that with a D or a T?
D.
Okay.
Shudder.
So it's horror movies.
Stuff? Okay,
yeah. But what they have that I think you would like is they have, when you turn it on, they're showing Shudder TV, which is they're showing one of their movies. It's just playing.
Yeah, I love that.
And you can watch it, and you can't rewind it. You could leave it and then go and find the movie elsewhere in the service and play it from the beginning. But
this is what people want now. They just want to not be able to rewind stuff. I love it.
Yeah,
just turn it on and watch it, and it's there, and it's pretty cool. And another cool thing they have that I think you would appreciate is, you might not like the presentation, but Joe Bob Briggs is like a big-time trash hound who knows all kinds of things about these movies. And so he introduces a movie, and then where there might have otherwise been a commercial break, he'll pause and tell you more facts, and then they'll go back to the movie, and then he'll give you more facts and context, and it's real nice. it's not nice to chop a movie up in that way, but when you're talking about these level of movies where they're kind of slow and they drag and the cool parts are fewer and further between, it is actually kind of nice to break it up with a guy telling you some factoids and makes you a little more interested in like this generic looking castle was actually like owned by some countess or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay.
Joseph Robert Briggs is a classic guy.
Yeah.
He's been doing this on TV since like TBS in the 90s or so. My dad used to love watching the Joe Bob movies on the weekend.
At the drive-in or something like that?
At the drive-in, yeah.
Yeah.
So I find it like such a wonderfully respectful way to present trash movies, like versus like I mean, maybe I'm a huge idiot for thinking this, but I've always found like the Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, I mean, he's not making fun of him, which is
like really crass, right? So it's like the respectful version of that, which is saying interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he knows when it's trash and he thinks that it's funny or bad or whatever, but he still has respect for the craft and the fact that it came out and that people appreciate it, and that's why we're watching it today.
He's like a real prototype YouTube video essayist.
Definitely.
Yeah, cool guy.
Gives you neat context for.
I want that. Yeah,
for stuff. So and Shudder has him like on a series. He introduces like a season of movies every year, something like that. It's pretty neat. So that's what I got.
The new season has started last week of his show on Shudder.
Yeah.
So it just started last week.
I have some recommendations. I would like to recommend, if you've enjoyed this or any episode of Insert Credit, please rate and review our show wherever and however you can. It's a really nice thing to do. It's a mitzvah. You could also support us on patreon.com/insertcredit, where you could become a patron to submit your own questions, listen to monthly bonus episodes, and get our regular weekly episodes ad-free. You could also join our community at forums.insertcredit.com. Send all business inquiries to show@insertcredit.com, or find a video of this episode on YouTube. This episode is edited by Esper Quinn, with original music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Tim Rogers.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
And race rubber cars, win rubber prizes.
I will.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's the plan. that was
rubber cars, rubber prizes.